Boom, what up? Solo Renekton only here. Wait, that's actually not mine. This is mine. Yo, what up guys, Mysterious here, and we're back with a new video, and this is how to beat Anivia guide. And a lot of people might have already noticed it, but the changes to Rod of Ages and Zara's Embrace actually made Anivia a menace on the Rift. So we gotta understand how to beat Anivia, and if you have no idea how Anivia works, or have never played Anivia, it's pretty likely that you actually have no idea what the champion wants to do and how to beat her. Alright, we're gonna start with Anivia's strengths. She has a lot of zone control with her ultimate, with her W. She can even create her own areas, so that makes her extremely strong champion in close corridors and dragon fights. She also has insane wave clear with her ult. She can even clear Baron minions pretty effortlessly. She's also pretty good against engage. She of course has the egg passive and a lot of CC and zone control in her kit. She skills extremely well and she has a lot of peak potential once again through her CC and through her zone control in her kit. So this is definitely something that we gotta keep in mind when we play against Anivia. Next up, we got the weaknesses. She is quite weak early. She has a lot of mana issues, her abilities are straightforward, her Q is actually pretty easy to dodge, especially if you have a dash in your kit, and that's basically all her damage. Also, it's pretty hard for her to auto-attack under tower. She has low wave clear early, so pre-level 6, she's definitely a shell of a champion of what she usually is. She also has insane mana problems. Right, if she doesn't have the Rod of Ages stacked, nor has the tier, she's just gonna struggle in lane. If she is level 6, right, if she is level 6, she can basically only clear 2 waves with her ult, and then her mana is basically empty. So she's gotta be extremely careful with her mana usage, and it's definitely exploitable. Also, her early skirmishing, extremely weak. As we noted, like her Q is very linear, very dodgeable, so in skirmishes, that's her main tool to deal damage. Moreover, she has very long cooldowns early, so the skirmishing part with Anivia early game is extremely rough, and you want to avoid that if you're playing Anivia, and you want to skirmish early when you're playing against Anivia. She's also slow, and she has no mobility in her kit. She is the slowest champion in the game when it comes to base move speed. I think it is 325, so it takes her quite long to get from lane to lane and from base to lane. Definitely a good one to keep in mind. And finally, she cannot walk into areas. Anivia has a control mage, and she struggles with walking into areas, but rather wants people to walk into her. So what does Anivia want to do? Considering her weaknesses and her strengths, she wants to farm early and reach level 6 because her ultimate really enables her in the game. She also wants to avoid skirmishes to get there. She wants to skill up a little bit, make sure that the game isn't too fast. She wants a slow game. So once she's level 6, she can get priority. She can take good resets, clear waves, and start bullying you with her insane range and damage from that point onwards. So what does she do? She gets trades with RW, E, and then because you're still slowed and you cannot really move away because of the W, she's gonna follow up with a Q and then another E. Massive damage. We're gonna go into this combo and how we can avoid it in a bit. She also wants to make picks with her W. And finally, like, she's a control mage. She's a pure control mage. She wants to get to areas first and let people walk into her. So if we are in the Dragon Pit, she wants to control the corridors, and with her zone control, with her W and R, it's basically impossible to walk in if she's there first. So how do we actually beat Anivia? We beat her by abusing her weak early game and making something happen before she can really turn on us with her own strengths. We can do this by heavy trading in lane, we can do this by pushing her under tower, making her struggle to CS, putting her onto a bad reset, skirmishing early, invading the enemy jungler. She's really useless when it comes to all those points. We can also beat her by understanding what she wants to do and avoiding it. So what we gotta understand in this scenario is that she is looking to trade with us and put us in situations where we can be picked and where we're vulnerable to her combos, and that's mainly centered around her W. As I said, that's something that we're gonna go into. Next up, we also want to be first at objectives, as we figured. Anivia wants to be there first to control the area. She wants people to walk into them. And we can avoid that by being first at the area ourselves. And then she struggles walking into us. And then finally, we can also be there through heavy split pushing in the side lane. Like, she has good wave clear on one lane, not on all three. She's slow, she's vulnerable on the side lane, so that's definitely a way where we can beat her. Alright, so these are Anivia's combos. She's usually going to start with R, W, E. She's going to stun you in her R and another E. And that's basically how you always die. And this is what people feel very frustrating into Anivia. I have a jungle main, plays a lot of Hecarim. He used to engage into Anivia and he didn't understand why he always got one shot. Well, this is the combo. You're never going to get out if you're going to get stuck in the combo itself, so to say. Keep in mind, like, the range of it. The range is extremely long. And this is what catches a lot of people off guard, is the range where she can actually cast it and then lock you up. So keep this in mind. Next video right here is mainly about, like, the ability that makes her so problematic, and that's her W. As we can see, the range on the W, it's massive. She's going to use this ability to make picks. She's going to use this ability to put you in situations where you do not want to be, and she's going to use this ability to control areas as well. So look at the range, keep it in mind, right? And be aware that if you're laning against her or there's a siege going on, we gotta stand outside this range. Otherwise we're gonna get locked up. We're just gonna die, because that's what Anivia does. So what I recommend when it comes to this is that you actually play 1 or 2 Anivia games in normal yourself, and then you actually get an understanding of what her ranges actually are. You don't have to win the games, just troll around, have some fun, play some Ws, right? And then you can actually see what she is capable of doing. If you have 1 or 2 Anivia games, you're certainly going to realize what her weaknesses are, what her strengths are, and how you can abuse that in the game yourself. Then finally, we got good and bad picks versus Anivia. I'm gonna start with the good picks. We got Victor. Why Victor? Well, he can really bully Anivia early with his shorter cooldowns, with his synergy with Ahri, and also when Anivia tries to lock him up in his combo, in her combo, Victor can actually use R that cancels channels to actually cancel Anivia R and get a better trade-off. It's really good for Victor. Kassadin. Right, he also wants to this slow game state, and he actually skills better than Anivia. He's got the ult to get out of her nasty combo, and Corki's actually very similar. He likes that slow game state, can actually bully Anivia, can outshove her early, and if she ever tries to lock him up in her combo with her W, Corki can just W dash out, and he's completely fine. And the poke he has, she also really struggles against. He outranges her, and that's also something that Anivia sometimes struggles against. So, bad picks. Why are these picks bad? Pantheon, of course, he wants to go in. He has very short range, and Anivia can just zone him off, be extremely annoying, and she also struggles to get one shot with her passive, of course. So Pantheon is not a champion you want to play into Anivia. Ryze. Also pretty tough, right? Ryze is a low range control mage. And Anivia can abuse that by locking him up in areas. If she is ahead, she can outshove him as well. Then Ryze suddenly has no identity anymore, and you're just in a complete crisis. Vex, very similar. Doesn't have the ability to really bully Anivia early, and is also a medium range control mage. No dashes, she's gonna get locked up, she's gonna die, and she's gonna have a terrible time into Anivia. Alright, so here I got a little example for you guys on how to actually abuse Anivia's weak early game. And especially on a champion like Victor, that's very doable. Of course, we take Ahri, we've got the very fast laning setup, Q is very dodgeable, we just Q the Anivia all the time whenever it's up, we bully her, we pressure her off the minion wave, we get a slow build into her, boom, another nice Q onto her. We get this minion advantage. She's stuck answering on this minion wave. Has to even Q it to thin it out because she doesn't want to be CSing under tower. That's very rough for Anivia. Boom, EQ onto her. It's very rough for her right now. So we keep building this slight minion advantage because we're not really under threat. by Anivia. As we said, her Q very linear, very dodgeable, and we're just pressuring her on the tower. She puts herself in a nasty corridor there. Definitely was a decent angle for the E. He didn't go for it, but that's still completely fine because the premise still stands. We're landing all our CS and we're on our way to actually force Anivia onto a bad reset. So let's continue here. All right, we keep getting this poke off. We're still extremely healthy ourselves because, as we said, Anivia struggles trading back into us. Very good E. Chipping down at our HP bar. Another E. Right. And now the wave is coming into us. We can make two decisions here, right? We can either make the decision to let it come into us, hold it on our side, force her into a bad reset, or we can keep pushing like we do if we want to have some priority on the map. Ranger comes for a gank, but we hover completely nice. And Anivia has to reset real soon. She has no potions left. Little skirmish going on bot side. That's completely fine because Anivia doesn't want to join and cannot join anyway. As we look back, right, wave is in a completely fine position because we have complete early wave control. She's forced into a bad reset. We got a little skirmish going in here. Team wins it. We reset, we TP back, Wave's in an awesome position. She's losing a lot of creeps right now, and we're just gonna get an XP lead. And this XP lead is gonna completely snowball into us winning the lane because we're gonna reach level 5 sooner. We're gonna start to get these massive E's onto Anivia. We still collect all the CS that we can. We're poking her down in the meantime, right? And once we reach level 6, we'll reach that level 6 way before the Anivia. As we can see right now, extremely low. We pop it under tower with the E, we get our egg, and we basically win the lane from this part. Personally, right here, I would have put the R back to the minions, make sure to shove the minions, get a reset, get lost chapter. That's not what Don does, that's also okay. But the idea here is that we force them to a bad reset and take trades early. So, if you guys have any questions about beating Anivia or any other questions in general, please let me know in the comments. I thank you all for watching and I see you guys next time. Bye bye.